reducing infant mortality. It should be about extending life in a healthy way.
So what's the Chilean situation?
The Chilean situation is similar already to a developed country. We have a rate of infant mortality, a rate of illiteracy that are so low that we are now comparing. If you read The Economist, the last page, The Economist always are publishing rankings. You always see Chile in the top 10, 15 countries
in the world.
In the world, let me tell you something that appeared only last week. The Wall Street Journal, a very prestigious newspaper in America, and the Heritage Foundation, a think tank, compile a ranking of economic freedom of the world. And they have made studies that economic freedom leads to better standard of living. Well, in 2005, for the first time, Chile is number 11 in the ranking of more economic freedom. And do you know which country is number 12? The United States of America. So this country, a socialist country with a civil war whose democracy broke down in a very painful way to a lot of people, this country has transformed itself so much that according to the Wall Street Journal, not to a Chilean newspaper, Chile is over the United States in economic freedom. You can imagine what this means for the future. This means that Chile, if we manage things well, and I believe that we have had civic friendship, we have had a democracy for 15 years, we have a stable economic system, no government, even the current president, who is a friend of mine,
and who is a socialist,
who is a former socialist, who is a social democrat. Today, nobody believes in the ownership of the means of production by the state, except Fidel Castro and Kim Il-jong in North Korea, you see, and maybe some Harvard professors of my old school, regret. But no, today they are all social democrats. The Chilean president follows more Tony Blair.
So
Tony Blair follows Margaret Thatcher, and Margaret Thatcher, in a way, followed us, the Chicago Boys. So, in a way, you see, we have reached an agreement today in Chile about a common economic system, a common constitution, and that means that we will hopefully never again have a breakdown of our democracy.
So although you have had socialist governments or social democrat governments in coalition with the Christian Democrats, who also had a long statist tradition, the reforms have not been reversed?
No, because the people, intelligent people, change their minds when they see results. And that's why those 17 years that may have been too long, but at the same time allowed for the country to multiply by 2.5 times the income per capita of the country, allowed for all those social indicators like infant mortality to go down. So when the transition was done in 1989, planned by us in the 1980 Constitution, it was a gradual constitutional transition. At that moment, the people who came to power, those socialists and those Christian Democrats, have renovated their thinking because they have seen the results. So if you're giving a Mercedes-Benz and you have never had a car, you have had only an old Trabant, German Trabant. See, these people always have had a German Trabant, and suddenly they are giving a Mercedes-Benz. Do you think that that person will say, no, I don't like the Mercedes-Benz, give me back my Trabant? No, they drive the Mercedes-Benz. Now they try to drive it a little to the left, a little to the right. Well, that is the usual reasonable debate in a democracy. They have raised a little taxes and done a little regulation that I may or not disagree. But that is okay. That is a debate in a democracy. The problem in Chile 30 years ago is that we didn't have a basic agreement about a constitution. You see, the left at that moment was in favor of political violence to change the country. It was the famous Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, Cuban Revolution recipe. A capitalist society does not allow change within democracy, so you have to use weapons, Molotov bombs, kill people. That was the essence of why our democracy broke down. Today, nobody in Chile is for political violence. Today, if you want to change something, you run for senator and you say, I want to increase taxes or I want to reform education.
So what happened between the 60s and the 90s was that formerly Cuba was a model for Latin America.
Exactly.
And then Chile has...
Exactly. That is the enormous success of Chile.